Hello friends and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to share with you my June gardens, just super flowers. They are having such flower power right now. And so what we're going to do is we're going to hop around the different parts of all the gardens, and I'm going to show you little snippets of what is just in absolute gorgeous display right now. I am choosing to see all of the successes and not worry about some of the messes maybe that may be in the garden. And so I'm just going to share with you all of these fantastic late June plants that are in all of their glory right now. We do these videos because we want to inspire you, to give you some ideas. Maybe you need help dreaming bigger like I do sometimes. So we're going to give you some ideas of plants to put together on how to, display these plants. We want to educate you, show you, give you those tips, those practical tips, especially if you're in the Southeast like I am in North Carolina, Zone 8A. Dealing with the heat, the humidity, clay soil, all the things. We're going to share some tips with you on that. And then, of course, just have some fun here in the garden. So that's what we are going to do. I am here at the privacy berm on the nursery side, the public side, this area that we want you to come through. And this top corner, my gosh, y'all, she is just absolutely stunning right now. So what you're going to see, you see those big pops of red coming out, and then of course the white from the hydrangeas. So let's just kind of walk through what we have going on here at the top of the privacy berm. We'll start in the back with these beautiful hydrangeas. These are quick fire fabs. These are panicle hydrangeas. They love the sun. They bloom on new growth each and every year. I mean, and these two that are right beside each other, are they not just phenomenal? They have those gorgeous, nice, tight heads on them. Very strong, sturdy stems. Quick Fire Fab is one of those earlier blooming panicle hydrangeas, and gives you those creamy white flowers. Will turn a kind of a nice kind of a pinky mauve. They're not going to turn as vibrant red as they do in cooler climates, say like in Michigan. But Quick Fire Fab is a great one. It is going to be mid-size. It's not going to be huge. It's going to be in that kind of that 4 to 6 tall range with that, gosh, I don't know, like 3 to 4 wide. So it's going to be more columnar, going to be more upright than it is going to be wide. And there actually is a third one right here. And then of course we have them on the other side of the fence as well. Lovely. You do not have to have flowers to have color and interest. Let me introduce you, if you're not familiar, with Sunjoy Neo. Sunjoy Neo is a barberry. Barberries are deciduous. Yes, they have thorns. Not going to be something you're going to come and run your hands over, but we love barberries for this very reason. This absolutely stunning color. Neo tends to be a little bit of a smaller barberry. I really don't prune them per se unless I just need to shape them. So we actually have 2 here, and you can see that the one is right there in my thunderhead pine. This is a black Japanese pine, which is also just doing fantastic. And she's doing so fantastic that she is kind of growing into the space of where that barberry is. So what I need to do this fall is take this barberry and really just bring her forward some. Because of course, when I planted the barberry and the black pine, they were not that close to each other, but the pine is growing that way. The pine gets precedence. So all I have to do is move this Neo forward. So we have those gorgeous colors right there. Then we have the daylilies. We are in daylily season here in North Carolina. This is a beautiful one from our friends at Proven Winners. This is Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is a really nice, pretty red, kind of has that pink undertones to it with that nice yellow throat to it. I do not deadhead my daylilies. I absolutely should. It would probably make them look it would make them look so much prettier. But this is just one of those things where it's, I'm just going to let that one go. I'm not going to worry about it too much. It does not, as far as I know, affect like how much flowers they will produce. It really is a thing about the aesthetics of the plant and making them look, of course, as pretty as we can. And so If you can deadhead your daylilies, that would be amazing. If you can't, y'all, don't worry about it. There's grace in gardening and it will be fine. But blood, sweat, and tears, I actually have it in a ribbon that runs through the garden right here behind some of, this is Vino Verde Weigela. I grow this one for that beautiful foliage. So kind of taking those daylilies and just kind of running them through, of course, because when we plant our garden, we want to go from tallest in the back to shortest in the front. And so just kind of running them through makes a beautiful display. And then, y'all, we are in the perennial hibiscus season of summer. Late June in North Carolina is the perfect time where our summerific perennial hibiscus are really starting to bloom. Here we have Holy Grail, and Holy Grail is that gorgeous, deep, deep, dark, near black foliage with those stunning, deep red flowers. Y'all, is that not just spectacular? So we've got 3 of them in here, and they are in the back of the flower bed. I repeat Holy Grail 3 different times within this entire space. So I have 2 sections on the nursery side, and then I have one set on the house side. But I love this area right now, even though are there room for improvement, things that I need to do? Absolutely. But again, we are choosing to find and look at the beauty and not necessarily worry about what needs to be done. So what needs to be done? Like, it's time to come in here and clean up my daisies. I can clean up my artemisia a little bit, right? So there's always something to do. But sometimes I know that I personally will focus my tendency, I think, it's my personality trait, is I tend to look and see, okay, what's wrong and what do I need to fix? And sometimes I just have to say, you know what? That's fine. We can fix that when it needs to be fixed, because there's grace in gardening and there's grace in life. But let's just stop for a minute and let's just appreciate the beauty that is here. And so that is what we're focusing on today. So yes, you're going to see weeds. You're going to see areas that need to be deadheaded, thinned back, moved, whatever. We're not going to worry about that, y'all. We're going to focus on the pretty things today. So this corner, absolutely loving it. Now, other corner that I am absolutely loving is on the house side, on the opposite end, that's in full sun right now. So just bear with me, but oh my goodness, it is stunning. So let's go check that out. Welcome to the sunny side of life here down on the other end of the berm. So we are on just the corner. So the corner to the nursery is just right over here. So nursery is right over there. Here we are, because y'all, I can see this really, really well from the house. These 2 shrubs right here are just absolute rock stars that are phenomenal. So what are we talking about? We are talking about the pufferfish hydrangea. This is one from Proven Winners. It too is a panicle. I have a lot of panicles in my garden because I have so much sun. And that's why I love panicles. They can take the sun. They need the sun. They need a minimum of those 5 hours or more of sun. They bloom every single year. Like, I really whacked this down, but pufferfish is so fun because this would be considered like a lace cap panicle, meaning that if you can notice how much more open and airy pufferfish is compared to when we were looking at Quickfire Fab. And I don't know if you can see this, but there's pollinators all over this hydrangea. So people will ask, you know, are there hydrangeas that pollinators love? And yes, so it tends to be that you're more, those lace cap, the blooms that are really open and airy, they tend to attract the pollinators more because the pollinators can really get in there. Like we got honeybees back here, they can really get in there and find that nectar. Pufferfish, of course, gets its name because it'll do these nice, big, beautiful, lacy blooms. And then at the tip, it's just starting on some of these. It'll have this little tip where it'll stick out. So they're so big and fat, they are like the pufferfish, and they're just huge, beautiful, lacy blooms. Another great thing about these kind of like these lace cap panicle hydrangeas is that when you get rain, the water can just easily go through those blooms. and they don't get so waterlogged. And that helps, of course, with the stability of the plant, the strong stems. They stay nice and upright. But she is just now really getting into all of her glory. We've got tons of other buds that are coming, but she is just happy. She's beautiful. She is every bit of probably 7 feet tall right now, and I would say 5 feet wide. This is year 3, I want to say, yeah, because the whole entire berm is like 3 years old. And so we're going on 4 years when we put the trees in. We started a construction of like October of 2021. So then these would have been planted in 2022. So yeah, year 3 that she is here, and just phenomenal. And then one of my all-time favorite butterfly bushes, this is the pink Cascade 2 from Walter's Gardens. This is a gorgeous, stunning, massive blooms on it, just a rock star of a plant. Of course, your buddleias, your butterfly bushes love the heat. They love the sun. They are massive pollinator attractors. Whether it is your butterflies, obviously, since it's a butterfly bush. I have got bumblebees, I have got honeybees, I've got all sorts of other little beneficial insects right here that are, I've got some moths down here that are just having the best time here on this pink Cascade 2. Pink Cascade 2, like all buddleias, they bloom too on new growth. So late winter, so like around February, that's kind of my guideline for when I prune these types of plants, perennials, shrubs, is late February, and really took it down, like really gave her a good haircut. During Hurricane Helene, which was last September, end of September, she was in all of her glory. And of course, with Hurricane Helene, we had a lot of wind, and she was like a big tumbleweed. So during the storm, she got tossed and turned, and she was actually got down here, she got uprooted some. And so I don't know if you can see, but she still has some of those roots exposed. So what happened is, because they're so strong and tough, yes, this part got ripped out of the ground. So you have these, I mean, they're dead now, but these roots were exposed for a long time. But she has such an extensive system, I knew that she would be okay. And clearly she is. So buddleias are very tough. And so if you have those butterfly bushes and something like that happens to you, if I had been with it, then of course I could have come and put some topsoil back on top of those roots. They would have rerooted, but clearly she's fine. So this little corner, love the buddleias. Brenna's looking for bunnies. She's very happy because she's outside. And then of course that beautiful puffer fish. All right, we're gonna go chase the shade because there is a section at the house that is full sun. Oh, it's just now starting to peak up. So let's hurry up and chase the shade. Friends, without a doubt, this garden has very quickly become one of the favorites of our family, the staff, anybody who drives up here. This space is unbelievable. So let me just, I want to impart a little, some encouragement, okay, some words here. We have lived in our house for 21 years now, and this space, this entire hill area, has gone through so many different transformations of us trying to figure out this space, because it is a challenging space. The soil's terrible. It's on a slope. It gets hot sun. It is just riddled with problems. It has taken us 21 years to get to this point. So if you're watching this video and you're like, my garden does not look like that, or I would love to have a garden like that, blah, 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 whatever the case may be, my encouragement to you is be patient and give yourself grace, because I can't tell you how many times we thought, okay, we got this. We got the design. Oh, this is going to work. This is going to be gorgeous. And maybe it was for the first year, and then it was like, it failed. It did not work. I think time will tell, but I think we might have finally figured out this space. And so really getting these terraces in this garden has helped tremendously with the wash. If you're familiar with this, we did this. Jerry was looking at a photo yesterday, and I want to say it was the end of August the 29th, and we were just putting in this back wall. So putting in the terraces has really helped with erosion. We have had no erosion this spring, and trust me, we've had plenty of rain. So you eliminate the erosion, then you can keep your good soil, which makes the plants happy. We do have irrigation in this area. However, my precious sweet friends, it's broken, and so we haven't turned it on. So yes, there's irrigation here, but it's not working. So we have had a very wet spring, which I think has played tremendously into how well the entire gardens are looking right now. So the Lord has blessed us with a beautiful, great rain, especially in the spring. That has gotten these plants off to a great start, great strong root system. And so don't look at this and go, well, she has irrigation and she's fertilizing, watering once, twice a day, and she's fertilizing all the time. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So when I teach you and preach to you about the importance of healthy soil and mulching and really fertilizing your perennials, your shrubs at one time a year, this is why I do that. And so the rewards are fantastic. So here on this cottage garden extension, which is basically kind of from what I consider from this lamb's ear, this is the Helen von Stein, it's that giant lamb's ear, which clearly loves this spot. Again, a beautiful plant, not one flower on it, and it is phenomenal. It's an evergreen for me, so I love this. So from the lamb's ear down to where you can see that Amsonia, this is what I call the cottage garden extension, because we had the cottage garden and we extended it. There you go. Indian summer rudbeckia. We only had 3 plants at the end of the season last year, and so I grabbed those. They are considered, I think, a biannual, meaning they'll last for about 2 years and they kind of peter out. Even if this was only an annual, I would plant it every single year, and I want more of them because they are just phenomenal, beautiful plants that 3 feet tall. They have been in full bloom for weeks, like 6-8 weeks so far, and just insanely gorgeous. And you pair that with the hot pink of the petunias. We've got echinacea in here, the back to the fuchsia. We've got annuals mixed in with the unplugged So Blue, salvias right here. We've got meteor shower verbena all tucked through here. Of course, the Senorita Rosalita Cleome, she is back there. Just having tons of fun. And y'all, you know that I'm trying to attract like the pollinators and my monarchs and my hummingbirds, all of those great beneficial fun quote garden friends into the garden. Well, I have to tell you, so let's give you a little update. First of all, the butterfly weed is doing great. This is the Hello Yellow, so you can see she is getting ready to bloom. I do not have any monarchs yet, so we're holding on. But this Kufia is just fantastic. I mean, it has those little teeny tiny purple and deep red maroon flowers on it. And y'all, I have to tell you, this was so fun. So yesterday I was getting supper ready, cleaning up the kitchen kind of thing, because my kitchen window is just right here. And there were 2 hummingbirds fighting, 2 females over here. One was loving this Kufia, so she would come in, she would drink, and then she would sit on the wall, like she just literally, not even on the plant, sit on the wall and just look around. Then she would go to the petunias, she went to the salvias, and they just kept doing this over and over again for probably like 30-45 minutes. And it made my heart so happy to see them out here. Yes, I have the feeders going strong, but they'll choose the happy plants every time over the feeders. So very excited with how well this is doing, but everything is filling in. Again, these plants have not even been in here for a year and doing great. Again, like look at this. Look at that Fire Chief Arborvitae, just kind of just shining. Completely different color texture, color palette. The texture is different, everything. Great evergreen, lovely. And then, you know, filling in all of this. A tip, just to even show you, I'm practicing what I'm preaching here, is that I had to bring the hose reel over here because the irrigation is not working. So what I did was I took my hose link, which is right over here. So we have the hose link here, and it will stretch to right here, and that's about as far as it goes. And then I connect it, and then I go up and I water my boxes. So hence why the hose reel is right here. The new for next year, this is the new Vista from Proven Winners. This is a Super Petunia Vista Cool Jazz. And Cool Jazz is a nice, light, I don't know, pink, purple, lilac. It's phenomenal. So right now it is doing well. Planted it later in the season. So we've got 3 on each side, and these are doing really well, and very happy with that. And then of course the boxes. These are those tall, extra tall modern garden boxes from Vego. That was part of this whole renovation when we put these in. And I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better, y'all. Look, the Blew My Mind Evolvulus. Look at that. True blue flowers filling in the trough right there. And then kept it simple in the center. We have got, I took hanging baskets of the Super Petunia Mini Vista White, one of my all-time favorite petunias. So I did the 4 corners with that, and then the unplugged So White Salvia. If you want pollinators in your garden, y'all, this is the one to do it, especially the bumblebees. They love this plant. They are all over it. And then we have the Rise Up Amberness Rose. And yes, we are in the middle of really going into the season of the Japanese beetles, and you will see that there are some Japanese beetles on here. Now the rose has been treated, so they're on their way out. So, oh, there we go, a little bumblebee. So they're on their way out, but they do a little bit of damage, not terribly, but of course they're attracted to the flowers themselves because of the scent. So they're dying, and so the rose itself looks pretty good. So there you go on that. And then of course the boxes, all 4 of the boxes are planted the exact same. And look at that, y'all. They have filled in so nicely. It's been, what, a month, I think, since I planted these. And yes, I overplanted them. I planted them for instant impact, and this entire thing is filled with soil, so they can just go, and those roots can go. Just keep them watered. I have water soluble fertilized them 1 time, and then there you go. So you've got that yellow portulaca. That is I love this plant, the Mojave yellow. You've got the new Kufias. I think this is like watermelon wine right here. And then the vivid violet. You've got the Angelonia, the perfectly pink, the Saturn, Suncredible Saturn, the unplugged, rockin' blue suede shoes. Thank you, took me a second. In there, and then Vermillionaire. Vermillionaire is on the corners, on the ends, and then of course the pentas. So everybody is in here doing really well. And then I did put some of the Evolvulus on the back side as well. So here we are doing great, loving it. It is a pollinator's paradise for sure. As long as you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. So I welcome my little pollinators of all shapes and sizes to this garden. And then this one, y'all. Look at that. So again, I say a great hack. I've done it twice in this garden. Is here we have the Super Petunia Vista Bubblegum. The classic, the industry standard as far as I'm concerned for petunias. And just like my mini Vista Whites, these 2 were hanging baskets. And so I took them out of the hanging basket and planted them directly in the ground. I will say when I planted these, they were not, like the baskets were looking a little rough. They were starting to get thin on the inside. It was later in the season, and they were not looking very optimal. They were not perfect magazine worthy. I don't care. I know what this plant will do. They were root bound in that hanging basket. They needed to get out, put them in the ground, and man, they absolutely take off. Have to watch them for about the first 2 or 3 weeks. Yes, I had to hand water these because the irrigation is not functioning. So I had to hand water them. Since then, they've done really well. Now we just went through that crazy heat wave. So every day I did go ahead and give them a shot of water just to make sure that they didn't have any stress. And they've done great. We've done a little bit of trimming on them. So right before the signature, like 2 weeks before the signature experience, when we were at the beach, my mom came through and trimmed up the sides. So I will probably go ahead and do that again, just because I want to keep them tight and I don't want to hide my wall completely. So I'm just going to come here, do a very light trim here on the sides. You can see where this one's starting to go over a little bit. Literally just kind of, I'll probably come in about an inch or two off the wall, and just, I have some little electric shears, and just shear them off on the side. Not going to worry about this part. I want them to connect right here. I might go ahead and do just a little bit of trimming here around my firelight tidbit, because I want the tidbit to grow, and I don't want the bubble gums to take over. So give them a little trim right here. Same thing with my Montana moss. So you can see this Montana moss is loving life. I started this as a court last year, but we've got moss right here, and I've got bubble gum. So I need to come in here and get bubble gum, pull her back a little bit, because the shrubs here are going to get precedence, because this is, I'm thinking long term. So I'm just going to come in and kind of clean that up just a little bit and keep them nice and happy and healthy so that my shrubs can grow. And then look at Pugster amethyst. And we've got this beautiful yellow swallowtail butterfly. She is just loving life right now. But yes, oh, and I scared her. So maybe she'll come back. The Pugsters are great. I have 2 of them up here, and then I have another one down in the cottage garden, and then firelights. Another great panicle hydrangea. Firelights are just one of those great, nice big, yep, so she came back. Nice big panicle hydrangeas. If you're familiar with limelight, firelight is going to be similar in size, habit, all of that. For me, firelight will be more reliable in how she turns pink. She's not flaming pink. She is not what I say Michigan pink, but she will take on some pink hues. To give you kind of the perspective up on from the back side, and you can see her here. So she will be in that, depends on where you are, 6 to 10 feet tall and wide. We have 5 of them here, and they're spaced probably about 4 to 5 feet apart on center. These have been here for quite a long time. They were not on irrigation to begin with, so they really kind of struggled, but they are doing great. Prune them every February. And then this one is probably my smallest one, because I have this oak tree right here, and the sun sets here, so this doesn't get as much afternoon sun as the other ones get. Jackson and I did come through here and limb up this oak tree, so it is doing better and getting some more sun. But you'll see, can you notice how it has that hump right here and there's no foliage there? That's because the sun doesn't get there, so there's no growth. If this had more sun, if I were able to get rid of some of these limbs and that afternoon sun get in there, then it would fill out and do really well. Now, probably one of my favorite hibiscus, perennial hibiscus, has got to be the newish from Walter's Garden, Watermelon Ruffles. Watermelon Ruffles is stunning. She's gorgeous. Beautiful ruffled petals that overlap each other, darker green foliage with that nice hot pink. I mean, it is a great one, and just really well. Planted this last year, I think it was later in the season, just as it probably was a 3-gallon. Yeah, and she's doing great. So there you go on Watermelon Ruffles. And I can see my hummingbirds, they're fussing. They're going through the trees up there. So I love it. I tell you, this is why I love this time of year, because of course of the blooms. Then you've got the hummingbirds that are here. It makes me happy. I don't particularly enjoy the mosquitoes or the flies, but you know, it's give and take, right? Here you go. So yeah, just give you a quick little update here on the chicken coop, because these are definitely loving life. None of this is on irrigation right here. Watered it well in the beginning. I now see, I'm just noticing this for the first time. What's going on with my sweet potato vine? I got sticks. Peter, Flopsy Mopsy, guess what they're doing? They are eating my sweet potato vine. Look at those sticks. So they're coming through. I have bunny problems. I don't have deer problems. I have rabbit problems. And so they have gone through and given me a nice little shear. Well, that's just lovely of them now, isn't it? The girls, unfortunately, can't get out and defend, but Anyway, it's part of gardening, y'all. The Senorita Blanca Cleome doing really, really well. Just to share with you, so literally the night before the signature experience, we were up here walking with our friends from Proven Winners and Spring Meadow Nursery and Pleasant View when we were up here, and Greg and Lisa from Power Planner were walking through. We had some wind that day, and y'all, I had another Cleome, a Blanca, right here where the chickens are, right? Like the stone chickens. And you can see how big it was, and it had snapped completely at the base. The wind, I guess, just got a hold of it and just snapped it right out the night before the signature experience. And I was like, okay. So what I can do is I can come in here and trim the petunias back, and then they will flush back out right here. So just to let you know, things happen to all of us, whether you're a first-year gardener, a 20-year gardener, you do it for a living, you do it for fun. Don't worry, y'all. We all go through those those circumstances. All right, we're gonna pop down to the house because there is the wall shade hanging planter that I want to show you, because man, she is looking great right now. All right, just to pop in right quick here, I am standing in the shade. This container is doing phenomenal. She is beautiful. This is I think it's the peacock wall hanger from our friends at Kinsman Garden Company. You were with me when I planted it. She is doing just really well. So we have an angel wing, dragon wing begonia, go by the same thing. So we have that. We have got the Double Delight blush rose begonias, one on each side. We have one diamond frost on each side, and then the new for next year, this is the Sweet Caroline Sweetheart Shadow Storm. And it is so fun because you will get solid green leaves, you will get black with green speckles, then you will get one that is half green, half black. Really, really fun. They would probably consider this like an unstable variety. That's why you get all the different colors in it. I personally love it, and it is really, really fun with all of those, just the variation of the color. And so there you go. Now, this does get a couple of hours of hot afternoon sun, and so I have to hand water this every day. But yeah, she is totally worth it. So what we're gonna do now is head over to the patio. Last but certainly not least, friends, the patio area is looking phenomenal. It is doing great. And around the corner, I cannot wait to show that to you. We've been here multiple times this season, right? You with me when we planted it and everything. Just want to give you an update and show you how everything is doing. So let's just kind of start here in the shade, and then we'll work our way. So these are Super Petunia Mini Vista White, probably one of my all-time favorite petunias. There is a single row, and they go about probably every 10 to 12 inches apart from each other, and have not pruned them other than to keep them out of the shrubs on the back side. It is that time because they are literally about to touch the ground right here. And so for me, July 4th is kind of that time where I always can come in here and prune. Like that's kind of like mid-February is time to prune my reblooming, like my shrubs that bloom on new growth. July 4th is time for my annuals to give them a little trim. So what I'm going to do is, like what I was talking about, is take that electric trimmer, and probably what I'll do is literally come underneath the lip of the wall and just run it, and then just take all of this off that's hanging over. So just give them a nice shear. That way it rejuvenates the plant. And of course, I'll do some water-soluble fertilizer to keep them happy to feed them. I always feed after I prune. But this will take me through, hopefully, the rest of the summer, depending on, of course, what the weather does and how much stress the plants get. But the longer I can extend it, the better it is. But yeah, if I didn't have my little electric shears, I would take scissors, and I would literally run scissors, and I'm taking the skirt off and, like I said, rejuvenating that plant. But I have them here, of course, and then they are on the other side, the other wall as well. So I'll do the same thing here and just take them up off the bottom. We're keeping them out of the shrubs on this side. But yes, everybody is doing really well. The Incredibles have They've passed their prime, but they are still beautiful. So they're starting to turn a little bit more of that kind of that lime green, getting a little bit of brown on some of them, but yet the plant are still putting out new growth. So these are those arborescents. They will bloom on new growth, prune them, doing well. We've had some massive rain and storms, so they're a little floppy, and yeah, I don't know when I'm going to prune them. I may leave them. We'll just kind of see. This is just kind of I'm fine with them the way they are, so we'll see how they do. And then of course the urns are still doing great. Can probably come in here and do a little deadheading. We do a lot of travel for business in the month of July, so that's a great time before you go on vacation, go ahead and do any kind of pruning. So that way when you're gone, you don't have to look at the freshly pruned plants, and then when you get back, they've already started putting out some new growth. So I'll probably come in here, and like I said, we've just gone through that crazy heat of last week, give them a little trim, some fertilizer, and they'll be fine. And then this is the area that we just look at and we're like, oh my gosh, this is our backyard. So more mini Vista whites. So what I'll do is come in, clean them up off the edge of the pathway there, clean them up a little bit on the back side. So we have those. Then we've got here on the left, this is the white chiffon Rose of Sharon. She is coming into all of her glory. This is a beautiful double white Rose of Sharon, and will get big. So you got to give her room to grow, which is perfect here on the corner. And yeah, so love the white chiffon. And then this is little quickfire hydrangea. And so it is, again, that true like lace cap bloom on it. It is a panicle, so it does bloom on new growth, but you can see how lacy and open this is. It has a beautiful fragrance to it. And when the sun hits it, the pollinators are going to be all over this plant. So we have that. And then coming around, we have, of course, down front, we have the Virtuoso Pinkerific dahlias that are new this year. They have done really, really well. It is time for me to come in and deadhead. We were deadheading about every 2 days before the signature experience. It's been probably about 4 or 5 days since I last deadheaded. And so the more you deadhead dahlias, the more they bloom. So come in here and cleaning them up and just encourage that new growth. And then of course, that is the unplugged So Blue salvia behind it. Again, massive pollinator attractor. I did the unplugged So Blue instead of the Rockin' Playing the Blues, because this is going to be smaller. Still has that great same look, but it's a more petite plant. So I like that. Behind the fountain that needs to be filled up, we have got three hydrangeas. These two are Little Lime Punch, and then we have a pufferfish here in the middle. I'm going to see if I can tiptoe through the salvias and not make the pollinators mad, so that I can show you this little Lime Punch. Definitely probably my favorite hydrangea. Y'all, strong, stocky, covered in blooms. She is just coming into her glory. Again, this one kind of July 4th. When it's July 4th, then she is very, very happy in all of her glory. So Little Lime Punch, love this. Panicle, full sun, like full sun all day long here. 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. Beautiful plant. And then you remember I just planted this year the Quickfire Fabs. So Quickfire Fab like we had on the berm, so they'll get nice and big here. But yeah, first year planting, I planted them not even 4, 5, 6 months ago, and they are doing great. So love those. And then of course the David Alston, the Roald Dahl, my newly planted ones, they're slowly coming, but the one that's been here, she is doing great. So everything here in the gardens, like I said, there have been messes and successes. Definitely way more successes this year than we have had, I would say, in previous years. I think that is contributed to one, the garden is maturing. So you have just time on your hands, right? That's what we always say, is because the first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, The third year and beyond, it leaps. So this is definitely my leap year. Things are just exploding. So I've got time on my hands. I had great weather. We had this was probably one of our coldest winters we've had. I don't know if that affected anything. I just know that there were certain things, like my peonies this year were phenomenal. I say that was probably because we had a really cold winter, because that was kind of across the board. Everybody had a great peony season. And then the hydrangeas and all the other plants are doing great because I think we had such a wet spring. We had consistent tons and tons of rain. They got lots of water when they were putting on all of that new growth, putting out all of that energy into the new growth and those flowers. And then of course the heat hit, so you add water and heat to a shrub or a perennial, and that is like the recipe for success. And they are just loving it. So, you know, some years it's going to be phenomenal. This is a phenomenal year for the garden. And then some years you're going to struggle. Last year was a struggle. We had 2 floods, we had hurricanes, we had tornadoes. It was literally felt like one thing after another. And we were just like, just get us through the year in one piece and we will be fine. And we will be happy. And we did, and we're here and we're on the backside. So if this is not a phenomenal year for your garden, it's okay. It is coming. Just keep doing all of those little mundane tasks that we do. We water, we prune, we fertilize, we mulch, we amend our soil. Those non-glamorous, those non-sexy parts of the garden that is not really fun to do, weeding, that's what makes, in long terms, longevity of your garden, that is what makes the difference. And again, there are seasons for everything. So if you're in a season of life where you can spend a ton of time in the garden, yay! And if you're in a season of life where you can barely spend any time, that's okay. Your garden will be there when you get back. So I hope, again, this has been fun and encouraging and gives you some inspiration, some plant ideas that you can think of adding to your garden either this year or in the years to come. As always, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to Garden with Creekside. That way you don't miss those 5 videos that we do each and every week. But y'all have a fantastic day. July 4th is just knocking around the corner. I cannot believe we are already at July 4th, but here we are, my friends. Happy gardening and happy summer. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.